ko'chalarda to'ng'ab o'lgan ko'chalarda umid uzma aziz xalqim, umid uzma ey ona yurt. Biz atlandık bu kurashga, o'yil tashdek uyushib. Allah berse bu nusratni, bizgilarimiz saf-saf bo'lib, zalimlarni yig'latgudek, O'g'iz kabi kuchlik bo'lib, lapildaydi osmoningda, ko'z chaqnitib shu kuni, ay yulduzlik ko'k bayrog'im, ey ana makon, ay yulduzlik ko'k bayrog'im.
Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. Welcome to another podcast we have today. We have a very special guest joining us from the United States. He has been involved in some sort of controversy recently, and we're here to basically clear up some of this. It's none other than Dr. Erkin Sidick. Assalamu alaikum, brother Dr. Erkin Sidick. How are you today?
Wa alaikum assalam, brother Arslan. Thank you for inviting me to this opportunity.
Very good. Yeah, so basically I wanted you on the show. We've had you before, obviously. So guys, if you have not seen that episode where I had Dr. Erkin Sidick the first time, you can see that on our Facebook and YouTube channels. I basically wanted to have you on today because you are a Uyghur activist who does a lot of work for our beloved Uyghurs. But in your recent interview with CJ Werleman, there were some things that you said, and there was some, criticism that you had, people wanting you to cite your evidence. But before we get into that, you on a daily basis get us news, exclusive news from inside East Turkestan. The first question I want you to ask is, where is this news coming from? Who are you talking to?
Okay, thank you again. I have about 4 channels to get news. One of them is we have about 100,000 Uyghurs outside East Turkestan and outside Central Asia. I know most adults living abroad. The reason is I traveled a lot. Actually, I visited each Uyghur community around the world in different countries. That's one of the reasons that we know each other. I gave some presentations, and we had a good to know opportunities until now. In addition to that, because of my past, a lot of people trust me. So right now, those 100,000 people have some kind of family contact, communication with homeland, with our back home. So from time to time, they have opportunity to talk to someone, mostly the family members. And when they do it, they can get some information, some impolite, some explicit. And whenever they find something very useful, they send it to me. The main reason they send to me is I have a weekly YouTube video program in Uyghur. It is basically news update about international news and also Uyghur news, what's going on back home. In that program, I summarize what I learned within the past 1 week. For that reason, the people who trust me, when they get some pieces of information, they just send it to me, saying, Erkin, brother Erkin, please share this. Right now, in most cases, the news are sad news. Bad things happening to the Uyghur people in East Turkestan. So that's one source. Second source, I have people that deliberately get some information. Actually, I can tell them sometimes. I tell them, can you check out what is this? Like recently, we got I call it a super hospital. The Chinese government put out some video saying they are building hospitals to quarantine the China virus infected people. Kind of when I asked for that, later people found out where is the location, even gave me the map location, and there are other big concentration camps next to it. We could see the whole picture, for example. Now, I have several middlemen. They have contacts with the very top level officials in China's government, both in Xinjiang and in Beijing, and they get very important information. The one of the master plan Xi Jinping came up in 2014. The content of that plan, that's how I learned it, through the middleman, but it came from the very high level of central government officials. And another one is I also gather some information from the social media. Every day, because of my weekly video, also I'm extremely concerned about the fate of the Uyghur people. So right now, I can say I have two full-time jobs. One is my regular job, another one is the job related to the Uyghurs. So I pay attention to the daily news. In addition, I check my WhatsApp and Facebook constantly on a daily basis. And when I see something important, I save them and I post in the Twitter. This is another source of information that I get.
So before we get into the actual information, I want to highlight and I want people to follow the news that we get from CJ Werleman. Dr. Erkin Sidick was on a podcast of CJ Werleman's Channel the Rage. And I've been on that podcast 3-4 times as well. But a lot of what we're talking about is based on this particular article by CJ Werleman, Death is Everywhere, Millions More Uyghurs Missing. But before we get into that, you say that you have direct contact with CCP officials who are Uyghur, who give this information to you.
Well, not necessarily the Uyghur. Some of them is Han Chinese.
Even Han Chinese, you directly talk to officials within East Turkestan.
That's right. They're not directly.
You find...
I don't have direct contact, but I have people in the middle.
Okay. And how do you find these sources to be reliable and trustworthy?
Yes, let me add one more channel that I forgot to mention. Okay. I mentioned 3 channels. One is the Uyghurs living abroad, getting information from back home. Yes. Another one is the government officials through middlemen. Another one I collect from the social media. Another one is some Uyghur people back home, either living in East Turkestan or in other the Han provinces. They send information to me deliberately. The thing is that right now the Uyghur situation is very tragic, and a lot of people are dying. So some people, they know they are going to die, and they choose to do something. The something is, so whatever they know, they want to send it out. So some people, I have contact with some people, and some people have contact with my friends, and they just purposely send out information. This is another channel. Those people are in a big danger. I had one person like that in 2018. Later I lost him. He told me when he contacted me that he may not live that long. I don't know how many more months. Only 24 years old. Because at the beginning, before we started communicating, I told him what you are doing is very dangerous, and if you are found out, you are in a danger. He said, yes, if I'm found out, I will be executed. I know that, but even without doing this, I don't know how many more months I will live. People like me, young people, a lot of them getting executed already, getting murdered. This is 2018. This person is in Kashgar, actually. In 2019, I had another contact from the Han province, a young guy who works in the Han province in other part of China. And we had contact. And we originally planned to keep contact, but later on I lost him too. So this is my another channel I get information. Please go ahead.
Okay, so going back to the question before, you say you have some sort of direct or indirect communication with CCP officials, middlemen. How do you find these sources to be true, accurate, reliable? Is there a process that you go through before you actually go and talk to the Uyghurs or to the people on the screen on social media?
The right now, as you know, the Uyghur people is at we are very close to be completely eradicated, and everyone's family got affected, and the whole situation, the whole East Turkestan we know of is gone. The whole thing is such a dire right now. So just by communicating with someone a couple of times, in most cases, those people find me. I don't look for them; they find me. I constantly get people. We talk and we ask where he is or she is, and the people that both of us know each other. From that, I can immediately find out he's a legitimate person. I mean, if somebody is a Chinese spy, Chinese agent or something, they never tells me the location. Let me tell you one example. I got in a situation like that. A Chinese agent contacted me on the Facebook. We had some conversation, and when we chatted a little bit, and he said, "Brother Erkin, when do you think the Uyghur people will do uprising next time?" This has happened in early 2010s. When he asked that question, immediately it clicked my brain. I said, "Okay, this guy is not a regular guy." And I said, "Okay, you ask." Initially, I replied to his question. I said, "Okay, so far, the Uyghur people are rising up once in about 10 years. We just had a big massacre in Urumqi a couple of years ago. I think it's something like that doesn't come soon." And after that, I immediately suspected that guy. I said, "You're asking two important questions. Can we talk over the phone?" He said, "Oh yeah, we can." I said, "Can you give me the phone? I call you." He said, "Today is not a good time. Let us talk on Saturday." It was a Wednesday or something like that. I said, "Okay, it's okay. Can you give me your phone number? I will call you on Saturday." The reason is that if you are in London, you cannot give a phone number for Turkey. So just from the phone number, you can find out where this person lives. And when I asked it that, I said, "Can you give me your phone number so that I call you on Saturday?" He ran away. So there's a sign for that kind of thing. I can find out very quickly. In other cases, because I know the people that he knows and I know, and I have been there in the city that he lives, for example, or she lives. So most of the time, that kind of thing doesn't happen. In initial contact, I can find out very quickly, and in one occasion, Facebook just happened, but in other cases, they are not. And everybody has life. The overseas, the life is so busy. Only the people who love Uyghur, the people who want to do something for Uyghur, whatever they could, just spend time do this. Some people contact several times before get a piece of information, for example, because they do. Their mind is. By the way, I have people that who does this kind of work and say he is willing to die for Uyghur people, kind of people. So these people doing this kind of things, both abroad and back home, same situation, because now you can ask the question: is our life better? How much better than dying, for example? We lost smiling. Like I lost smiling for some time now. I cannot smile. It's so hard. And every day getting this bad news that we are losing everything we got, piece by piece. Just a couple of days ago, I heard that right now this China virus lockdown is taking place It is about 45 days. The Wang Yi, the Chinese foreign minister, traveling in 5 European countries, and he's saying, oh, for some time, China didn't have a single infection case in each day. It's zero. This is what he says. But back home in Urumqi, in whole East Turkestan, all Uyghur people are locked down, and people dying by starvation because the government is not delivering foods. And now, in the COP last 10 days, the government came up with an excuse saying, "Oh, we'll burn the things that may carry the virus." They go into Uyghur homes one by one and collecting all the traditional items like rugs, curtains, dresses, clothes made of cotton or wool, and they're taking it out to burn.
So before we get into that information,
Yes,
because I want to break down what you said in CJ Werleman's podcast and then basically go over what's been written in the article.
okay.
But before we get into that, evidence, people keep on talking about evidence. We need evidence. I mean, East Turkestan is a place where I've experienced I get a lot of criticism for not providing enough evidence, and I'm sure you have that same criticism as well. Why is it so difficult for us to provide the evidence? And for me, I feel as if unless people see videos of people being killed on the street, like slaughtered like Rwanda, I feel as though nothing is going to be enough for evidence.
Yes, this is a big problem. And it is unfair. It is unfair. I have been telling reporters all along that China is an authoritarian regime, is a dictatorship regime, just like North Korea. And they don't operate in the same principle as the Western countries. They don't have any moral code. We have to remember that China is a godless country for 2,000 plus years. They are not afraid of anything. They don't have faith in God or religion. They only have faith in money right now. The Chinese CCP regime converted the whole people in that way. And also they lie. We know they lie in everything they do into the international community. So among the Chinese scholars, Chinese analysts, they say when you read something from the Chinese government, understand in the opposite way. What that means is if the Chinese government say, "Oh, we had this incident and nobody died," just assume that a lot of people died because they hide it. So they lie and they hide. In the case of East Turkestan, I can tell you very quickly 2 little stories. The Peter Winter always reports very excellent, or came up with very excellent reports. They have a lot of reporters on the ground inside China. Basically, they pay them to collect information, and those people interviewed 2 people, or several people. One of them is a Han Chinese who went to East Turkestan from somewhere else to work for 3 months. When he came to Urumqi, he had to pass through a gate, a facility just like a custom when you go through when you go to abroad, and this is much harsher than the customs of the Western countries, because he was thoroughly searched, and his phone got an app. The police installed an app when he tried to enter East Turkestan. That app has all the rules, what he can do, what he cannot do, kind of. So when he was in Urumqi, in the place that he stays, there is a flag raising ceremony every Monday. And one Monday he got very curious and said, "Let me take some pictures to take back to my family to see." When he took the picture, he was arrested right away on the spot. And he was integrated, and his phone was thoroughly searched, and he was told, why you in Xinjiang? You cannot take picture. This is the situation. This is the degree of how much the Chinese government is controlling the information. And when he left Xinjiang, the app was removed because the government was afraid that the app may end up in a foreign government's hand and find out what it is, kind of things. Another case, the Chinese official went to East Turkestan to train camp guards. To enter the guard, he has to go through 3 checkpoints every day. 3 checkpoints. He's an official. He's an official coming from the other part of China, and he has to go through this. In the first checkpoint, he loses all the electronic devices, all the equipment, like a cell phone, even the nail clipper. They're taken away too. And they have to go through the 3 checkpoints to go into concentration camp, a camp official. Situations like that. The one guy didn't follow the rule a little bit, Han Chinese. He was to sit on the tiger chair for 24 hours. And this police officer said the working in Xinjiang's concentration camp is so harsh. 2/3 of my colleagues quit the job. We are talking about the guards, officials, not the detainees inside the concentration camp. The reason I bring this up is China is controlling information that way. And in 2018, the local authorities kicked out all the foreign students, including the Pakistani students from East Turkestan, because they are afraid that the people may carry information to outside. I mean, we are living in a situation like this. And I told you the 4 channels that I get information. So every time when I heard some reporter tells me that you don't have enough evidence, what else you want us to do? When the one thing the Western reporters should understand, when dealing with China, they should not use the same standards they use in Western countries, because China is not a Western country. It's a dictatorship. It's authoritarian, like a North Korea. It's completely different world than what they do business in general with. It's very different. So using the same standard to China, to us, the worst thing is when I tell some facts about what's happened in a particular issue, and the Chinese government puts out a propaganda, they quote Chinese government, not me. This is a very sad situation. The Western reporters are doing Chinese government's job. They're doing propaganda for them. Let me tell you one example. In 1989 Tiananmen Square incident, massacre, I was in Beijing. The next couple of days, the Chinese government reported again that 3 people died on June 4th, 1989. 3 people. 2 of them are military personnel. There's a burnt body, and they showed that picture, and again saying this is the military personnel that the students burned. And they said altogether 3 people died, 2 of them are military personnel. If you go to the Red Cross's website, they recorded more than 2,500 deaths, and a lot of people estimating more than 10,000 students were lost that night. This is how China works. So if you quote that, last night there was the incident in Beijing, and 3 people died, and 2 of them are military personnel. If you report like this, you are just doing CCP's job. You are not doing the job for people, or for free world, or for democratic world. You are not. You are doing the CCP's job. That's what's happening right now. Like the Western media is at least 2 years delayed than me. I have to tell this one another example. There's one article published on January 15th, 2018 by Human Rights Watch. People can check it out, about Uyghur people. That article says more than 800 Uyghurs were detained. It's probably more than 1 million, because the 800 is the number came from the government, from the local Xinjiang government. So in reality, it may exceed 1 million. Look, it is January of 2018. This report came out. I know the whole situation, the background situation. I know whole things. The Western reporters, even today, saying more than, or up to 1 million, sometimes more than 1 million Uyghurs were detained. It is not true. The Chinese government built many concentration camps since then. And this detaining process continued. It didn't stop yet. It continued to this date. But that 1 million didn't change in 2.5 years.
Yeah, according to you, what you told CJ was you believe not just the detainment, but the number of deaths exceed the number of the deaths that happened in the Holocaust more than the Jews. So, right, as I believe the number of Jews that died during the Holocaust was 6 or 7 million, you believe that more than 6, 7 million Uyghurs have died so far.
Yes, it is the number. It's not a diet like in concentration camps. I personally believe that maybe you should check the article again. It is more than 6 to 9 million people got detained since 2017. My estimate is more than 1 million people died. I have been constantly using this in my Twitter or in my lectures because we hear deaths every day, everywhere. It's happening in such a large scale, but in a distributed fashion. The Chinese, there are some. I got some information about deliberately taking people and killing them. Not in East Turkestan. The Uyghur people taken to Gansu province. Some of them got executed. They loaded into the bus, 50, 60 people in the bus, took to a remote location and shoot them and bury them during the night. And the army official got crazy by doing this job a couple of days. After that, the government ordered to kill them also. The people, the army members who got crazy, shoot them also, kind of. This information came from the top level. I have the kind of information. The others is the people have heard so much about the condition of the inside the concentration camps. Nobody so far didn't talk about the prisons yet. The prisons are even worse than the concentration camps. The concentration camps so worse, the Kalbunur Sidick, for example. When he talked to the reporter, she told how many students died when she was teaching in that camp. So this is happening everywhere. The reason is that people detained is such a large scale. That you are right. It's between 6 to 9 million. That this came from the people, from the inside people. From the inside people. The one number we need to pay attention in the Aktu County, in Aktu County in the southern Xinjiang, there were 92,000 population originally, but the government official told that informant that they have detained 72,000 of them. If you do the math, this is about 78%. 78%. So one of the most important piece of information I got is Xi Jinping made a plan to kill 1/3 of the Uyghurs, lock up 1/3 of the Uyghurs, and they convert the remaining of the 1/3 of the Uyghurs. So according to the Chinese book, not the Chinese book, what the Chinese reported to the outside world, in 2018, the Uyghur population is 11.655 million. But Uyghur intellectuals estimate, based on the natural growth rate, including myself, I did the math myself too, the population is at least 18 million Uyghur population before 2017. Now, before 2017, in 2008, the one Chinese government's think tank chairman, Victor Go, said in Al Jazeera TV, all together there are 6 and 7 million Uyghurs in Xinjiang. This is his exact word. I have that YouTube still.
I have the clip ready right now, and I'll just let people hear it. Okay, this is supposed to be a Chinese spokesperson saying this. It's very scary, guys. Have a listen to this.
'In Xinjiang altogether, there are about 6 or 7 million Uyghur people. You are talking about let's say 1 million for the 6 or 7 million Uyghur people in Xinjiang. That's ludicrous. These are not facts. These are misleading things. Try to confuse the world.
So you guys heard that? You hear even on Chinese TV, Chinese propaganda, Uyghurs are 11.5 million, 12 million, 10 million, 11 million. But you have someone, the likes of Victor Gao, and very official spokesperson saying, not the official spokesperson, but he's always used to address the Western world. And he says 6 or 7 million, and that's very scary. So, for example, the current population of Australia is like 22, 23 million. If I'm an official spokesperson and I say the current population of Australia is 15 million or 14 million, this is very, very scary. Where has, let's just say the CCP numbers are correct on Uyghur population, where have 4 or 5 million people gone? Very scary.
That's right. And now, according to our estimate, Uyghur people is 18 million at least. So 1/3 is 6 million. The number matches. I was watching that Al Jazeera program that day. When I heard that, I jumped from my seat. And immediately I wrote alert to all the Uyghur activists around the world, saying, pay attention to this number. Something very bad is going to happen. And it has happened. It has happened. The thing is, people need to pay attention to those who visited East Turkestan recently. They are not seeing Uyghurs on the street. No Uyghurs in the Urumqi, no in Kashgar, Hotan, and no in the county city streets, and even in farms. The recent video I am getting, females working, no male, in the farms. The thing is, in the report by the Bitter Winter, that there are more police than the Palestinians. There are more police on the street than the people who are walking on the street. The thing is, where did the people go? Where they are? They should be somewhere. Even the 6 million people, that's a lot. They should be somewhere. Why we don't? When the visitors, when they go there, they don't see it. The people are gone. So we have to pay attention to that one. So the number here to remember is the Uyghur population is more than 18 million. Now the Chinese government is claiming that 6 and 7 million. Where the rest go? The big plan is, I said, look up to 1/3. If you look at them, the 1/3, they took a lot of people from concentration camps to prisons. Very big number. All the concentration camps are still operational right now. There are people in it. And a lot of people also taken to forced labor factories. For these people, no normalized life anymore, no family. Even the forced labor factories, male, female, completely separated. I don't know, I never heard any news about they are allowed to get married, for example. And all Uyghur women were sterilized. They cannot give birth anymore. Uyghur people will not be born anymore from now on. It stopped in East Turkestan. The people not paying attention to that one. Only the Uyghur girls who married Han Chinese are allowed to have a child. And the recent visitor saw that situation in Kashgar. He saw some couples walking in the city, in Kashgar city's street. And but they are all Uyghur girls marrying Han Chinese.
You point out 5 specific purposes as to why China is doing this. 1, forced labor. 2, COVID-19 vaccine testing. 3, organ harvesting. 4, biological weapons testing. And finally, proof of life. But I want to focus on the COVID-19 vaccine testing. How is this happening? Could you give us some information on this?
Yes, there are some English reports about what China is trying to do. They are trying to come up with a vaccine for China virus. And 2 companies are working on that. In the report, 2 companies are mentioned. I don't remember the name. But they said they finished phase 2 trial already. And they need phase 3 trial, volunteers for phase 3 trial. The number is about 20,000 people. And said one company will try it in Brazil. Another one is in United Arab
Emirates.
In the article, they say this. The thing is, right now the Chinese government don't want Uyghur people's life, and they have controlled the whole population in such a way that they can do anything with them. So we have seen what they are doing to the kids, to the women, and to the other people taken to other part of China for organ harvesting, organ sales. So it's very easy to do this with Uyghur people. The strange thing is, the second wave of China virus outbreak in East Turkestan didn't happen. They just came up with narratives, a couple of versions of it. Like one Uyghur came back from other part of China to Urumqi, and 1 week later she attended a wedding. The wedding is attended by 400 people, and they found all the 400 people, quarantined them. Not only them, the whole family. If you added them up, it's a couple of thousand people. They did that. And after that, they locked down the whole East Turkestan. The thing is East Turkestan is such a big land. It's 1/6 of the whole Chinese territory. I don't know what's the official numbers that the Chinese government is reporting about the population. I think my guess is about 30 million. 30 million people in 1/3 of the Chinese territory, and then we never heard any infection cases before, but suddenly they just lock down everywhere, and they force the people to drink Chinese medicines twice a day. It is right now, the Wang Yi just said yesterday in Europe, there's a 0 case in China every day now. Why is it still locked down? What's going on there? So you see, they had a need for people to test the vaccine. As you can imagine, the China virus vaccine business is a huge business. There's a international race right now, and several big countries all doing this. Of course, the US or other European countries don't do it in the way of China does, but China has the conditions. All Uyghurs can be used for anything, so they are doing that. And I saw a picture that people got blood test every day. Their whole leg is damaged completely. They are doing blood test and there's another acid liquid test from taking liquid from mouth. So I have some numbers. I couldn't prepare them today because I have some researchers working on the things. The official numbers that China is reporting, they don't match. The cases found in Urumqi, for example, let us say 150. But why you look up the whole East Turkestan everywhere, and the people are dying of starvation. So it doesn't match up. So what happened here is it is very possible that they applied the vaccine to healthy people first, because to test the vaccine you have to test with healthy people. You apply you inject the vaccine. After that, you inject the virus. The virus is very easy to do because, like in Urumqi, the medical staff went home by home, saying they take a liquid from the mouth, or even in the hospital, in the quarantined area, quarantined facilities, they did the same thing. So we test you for China virus. They take a liquid from the mouth. So you can use a paper, the cotton clip or something. You can take out the liquid, or you can use the infected people's tool to put the virus in your mouth. It's so easy to do. Look at the staff working there. They're all completely covered up. Just doing it. My sister is a doctor. She works in a hospital right now. She does this kind of test. They don't have any things like that. When people come for China virus test, they don't do it that way. Just in China, all the people covered up completely. They can easily be taking the liquid, or they are putting back the liquid to people's mouths. So what you do, you vaccinate first, then you put the virus, and you test the result to see how these people are doing. That's the reason that the government is doing the blood test and that the liquid test every day to a large group of people. Now, another important thing I got, this is very reliable because somebody's daughter is in it. There are big, tall residential housing next to Xinjiang University in Urumqi. Government took about 165 people from those buildings. one person from each family, all young, from 18 to like 35 years old. And those people were taken to that super hospital that I showed the video of. So this whole operation, if you combine them together, it can point to a conclusion that the Chinese government is doing vaccine trial on the Uyghur people. And they say to the international media, international governments, oh, we have 0 cases every day. But at the same time, this is what's happening in Uzbekistan.
Another issue that you bring up is biological weapons, that Uyghurs are being tested for biological weapons. Where do you get this information from?
It is from the central government official. The Bitter Winter reported that more than 500,000 Uyghurs were taken to other part of China. They were dispersed. What that means is this 500,000 Uyghurs not kept in one location. It is distributed to many, many places. And the Bitter Winter interviewed guards working in several such facilities that keeping the Uyghurs. They were transported around the night, specially designed train and the bus. Nobody in the area know that happened. Like the people living next to the prisons, which took Uyghur people, didn't know that there are Uyghurs in these prisons. They did this whole thing in such a secrecy, in a very top level secrecy, guard everywhere. The people should read those reports because it came from the ground directly. Now, China has a biological weapon programs. We need to remember China is a totalitarian regime. They even when they sign some treaty or something, they continue to do what they are doing. Like I say, let us say they signed the treaty to not to have nuclear weapons or don't develop new weapons, but they continue to do that. So this is the situation. So they have biological weapon program. You say that even if you buy animals to test from the streets, for example, you pay for it. The Uyghurs are free, and these biological weapons are being developed for killing the people, killing humans, not the animals. So right now, it is much more convenient for the Chinese government to do that. Of course, this is my saying, but I got information from the central government. The people who are taken to the other part of China used for 3 purposes, mainly. One is organ harvesting. It is very convenient to those hospitals. Just take the person and just do the operation. They were located in places like that. Second is the biological experiments. Third is some portion of it got executed, as I mentioned earlier. They loaded the detainees into a bus, took to remote locations, and shoot them, and they buried them. I posted one video in my Twitter. I got it from the social media that the Chinese army burying dead bodies. They are in plastic bags, and they just throw to the ditch and bury them. After they throw the body, they put some kind of chemical on top of that. So at that time, I said this might be the mass murdering the Chinese government is doing, kind of things. But because there's no other information in the video itself, it's hard to tell. The things we need to pay attention is China learned from Kosovo. When the Kosovo war is over, and the international inspection teams went there and digged the burial places, they found a lot of bones, and they could count how many bodies were buried in one location. The China learned that. So in the Chinese case now, when they shoot people to death and they bury them, they put on chemicals on the body so that it dissolves completely. And after a couple of years, when you dig there, you cannot find bones either. The Chinese government is very smart in this kind of things. Recently, I got information that the government have been destroying the evidences, all the evidences related to the detainees, Uyghur detainees. Not only burning the papers, they even destroyed the computers, I was told. just to zero possibility for people to find out what happened in that land. It is happening. Like, this information is from the official as well. They even destroyed the computers.
I mean, we do this every day. We talk about these atrocities. I talk about the atrocities that you talk about as well. But what seems to happen is whenever you get the Chinese version of the things, all you see is this. All you see is dancing and people being happy and Uyghur food. How do we convince people? Because, okay, we say all these things. What do you think the world wants? What sort of evidence do you think would be enough for the world to take actual action, and instead of just condemning the atrocities? Because they show this all day, and a lot of people around the world, a lot of stupid people, believe this propaganda.
That's true. And the amazing thing is, the reporters complain to us, saying you don't have enough evidence. But I don't hear that they complain to the Chinese government, saying, why don't you open your door? You are the World Trade Organization member. You're supposed to be like a free market, free society. Why don't you open the door? Why you close it? Nobody questions about that. Nobody blames or condemns the government. But just they only tells us that we don't have enough evidence. I don't know what else we do. I need to mention one thing. If you want to wait, and until you can be able to go to East Turkestan and find out firsthand what happened there. And if you want to count the dead bodies, and report, no bodies. Bodies are all gone. Uyghur people are also gone, as I mentioned earlier. They are planning to kill 1/3 of them, and to destroy the evidence, they not only burning the papers and destroying the computer, they did population switch. The ones living, they moved the people from southern East Turkestan to northern East Turkestan, and from northern East Turkestan to southern East Turkestan. Do you know what happens when they do this? The newcomer does not know what happened before he came in that land. And also he does not know what happened in his hometown, back home. So this way, like I just mentioned that the Chinese government destroying the traditional Uyghur items, rugs, curtains, dresses, clothes. They are burning it and moving the people around and killing the 1/3. So just imagine what kind of land you will see when you go there and visit. I don't know when. I don't know if it comes in 1 year later, 2 years later, or 10 years later. The thing is, the East Turkestan we know of is gone already in 2020. It is gone. The people don't know it because you cannot see the whole scene, what's going on. What we do, because we have information from the different angles, from the different places. We can see what's going on there. The East Turkestan is gone.
You know what I'm worried about, Dr. Erkin Sidick? I'm very worried. You know how for many years we were saying, call it a genocide, call it a genocide. And I'm worried when people actually do start calling it a genocide, then what? I'm worried that when people see real murdering, like you've mentioned, when they actually have video footage of it, I'm worried now that action will still not be taken, no matter how much evidence you give.
That's true. Just yesterday, I talked to several Muslim students. We had a video conversation like this. It's not a broadcast, but just to understand each other. I mentioned this. So right now, what's happening is the labeling, statements, condemnation. The 3 types of actions are taken by some countries, led by the US. Of course, the US came up with the Uyghur Human Rights Act as well. But this all labeling is, it's not actions. For in our case, no action is happening. It amazed me. I studied Kosovo a little bit. How come they got international help? And the number of the people died is not that many. It's I remember it's 8,000 or something. It's not that big a number, 8,000. But UN had several resolutions, and the NATO act on it, and it like even the Kosovo became independent. In our case, I am telling, we lost more than 1 million Uyghurs already, died, not in concentration camp, died. And look at the UN is sleeping. The UN is in deep sleep. They are not moving. They are not doing anything about the Uyghur issues. And yesterday, we kind of discussed what the possible paths go forward, how we can solve this Uyghur problem. And I told the students that we have to use the international machines like a UN. That the thing is, truth is, in the UN there are 15 committees, subcommittees. 6 of them led by the Chinese government, Chinese people from the China. 6 of them. And even like a human rights council, for example, the top officials Chinese from China, and one of the security council members China too, also Russia. They block anything that comes to UN about Uyghur. So we have obstacle right there. It's so hard to pass from there. But the thing is, what other paths we have to solve Uyghur problem? The Chinese government, the information I'm getting is they didn't change anything about that master plan to get rid of the Uyghur people. They're implementing as originally planned. Actually, the China virus created a very good opportunity for them to do even more than originally planned, because all the other countries are busy with dealing with the China virus right now. So our situation is so bad. So if the international community waits for another 5 years, for example, Uyghurs are gone. And let me tell you this. So to convert the 1/3 of the people to the level of middle ages human being. This is what the Xi Jinping said. Middle ages human being, convert the rest. They already done it. They already got rid of all the smart people. The one living and walking on the street is like in the Middle Ages. And the Bitter Winter has a report. One of the Bitter Winter's reports say that the Chinese camp official told them that the people in the concentration camps already changed so much that they cannot tell good from bad. Their brain already completely damaged. It is reported, this is the Chinese government's police official said this to Bitter Winter. I don't know the world, what they are waiting, what other things they will wait for it. But this is all happening on the ground in East Turkestan. That we are just watching the East Turkestan is going away day by day.
Sort of the last question here. What you've described is very grim, and action in the world it doesn't look like it's going to come anytime soon. As I mentioned, even if we had video footage of people dying, being massacred, I don't think it would make a big difference. Calling it a genocide, I don't think would make a big difference. But what do you think? What solutions would need to take place for this atrocity to end?
The thing is that the world needs to look at a larger picture. The China has a grand plan about the future, and to implement the grand plan, the one means they use is the One Road, One Belt initiative. They are implementing their plan through this One Road, One Road initiative, and if China rules the world, we will have a different world. It's completely different. Most people in the Western world cannot imagine right now what kind of world waiting for them, and that will happen. So I hope the world just don't just take this as an Uyghur issue. It's not. It's a world issue. That Secretary Pompeo said it, put it very well, saying it's a freedom versus authoritarian regimes, the democratic regime versus authoritarian regimes kind of thing. Not this China versus America. It's not. So people need to understand that way. People need to pay attention what's already happening. In Africa, the Chinese companies kicked out African workers who prayed 5 times a day. The condition is you either work here or you stop. You work here, stop praying, or you pray, get out from here. This is what they did. China does this to all the countries once they put their feet in it. They will do it. Not just Uyghur. Uyghur is just one example about what's coming next to other countries. So the world needs to take it seriously. And as I mentioned earlier, right now I cannot see a path to solve this problem, because if we still rely on the UN, no hope. At least in the current status of the UN, something else needs to be done to stop this. And I hope Uyghur people don't disappear, just like now. I mean, it is such a large tragedy for us there. To the world, 18 million people might not be that many, but for us, it's everything we got.
Well, thank you for your valuable time. I'll finish here, and this is a wonderful comment that someone's left. Thanks, Erkin Sidick, for his work to share the realities of the CCP. We hope you continue. I hope the criticism doesn't affect you not working. Actually, it should want to make you work harder to try and get the news out there. Because
Yes.
a lot of what tends to happen is this happens not just with the Uyghur issue. Someone will talk about something, and then 1 year later or 2 years later, people, now the evidence comes to light. So people, I hope they give you more credit than they do. And I do hope that reporters and journalists and governments around the world do give the Uyghurs a sort of different standard, because we are not Syria, we are not Palestine, we are not Yemen. I mean, the media can get into those areas. We are not Rohingya. People, are able to share live footage of people being massacred. We cannot. It does not mean that it is not happening. Do not believe in the CCP propaganda, because you are only supporting CCP propaganda. Thank you so much for your time, Dr.
I need
Yes.
to make one comment.
Okay.
We got criticism, but there very few.
Yeah.
In most cases, the response is very, very good to the Verleman's article. And yesterday I checked it. It got like a 10,000 retweets.
Retweets, yeah.
It is retweets. Yeah, it's a record for me, and actually, I'm very happy. I'm very happy. I need to tell here, every piece of information I put out has a source. I have full-time job. If the East Turkestan didn't become as it became now, I love to enjoy my job better and my life better too. But I'm doing this because all this is happening. I don't need to make up some stuff and put it out. I don't need to. Everything I put out there has a source. It comes from somewhere. So I hope the reporters, before you question the evidence or the information that I put out or somebody else put out, please think yourself, how much do you know about East Turkestan? What contact you have, what source of information you have, and how much you know that land, how much you know about China. You need to ask that question as well. If you put yourself in our shoes, you understand why we do what we are doing now. So it's a big mistake that you don't trust us and trust the CCP. We never become CCP, and we are not the kind of people at all. But right now, we are forced to use whatever means, whatever opportunities we have to send out information, just to try to attract attention from the international community and the world. So, maybe someday help comes from somewhere. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And a very good question here. How can we keep up to date on the info in ET? Obviously, follow Dr. Erkin Sidick. Follow his work that he does. Follow us on Talk to East Turkestan. Keep up to date. And I mean, do watch what China spreads, because even when China does spread its propaganda, there are elements of truth and there are elements of things that they give away while they spread their lies. It's quite funny sometimes when they lie, some truth does come out, like we saw with Victor Gao. But thank you so much. Let's continue the work we do. As you mentioned, we don't make any money from this. I mean, I make no benefit. I'm sure you make no financial benefit from this. We are doing it because it's the truth.
That's right.
All right, guys, thank you so much. I want to thank all my viewers today. Thank you, Dr. Erkin Sidick. It's very early over there. I believe I had you at 7 a.m. local time. Now it's 8 a.m. I hope you enjoy your weekend. And until next time, everybody, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you very much.